Hello everyone and welcome back to the HCW YouTube channel. My name is RateWrestle and today we're going to be reviewing the Kamikaze Pro Live 29 show, and we did a preview with Samuel Hughes last week, and we've decided to do a actual review with another member of the Kamikaze team, and we've got none other the Kamikaze GM, well the Kamikaze GM for the Pro Live show, Karl Robinson. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I mean, throat's still recovering because, well, as you mentioned there, Kamikaze Pro Live general manager, the ring announcer and commentator who basically had to Joey Styles it.
Yeah, you did a lot. Yeah, so you literally did. You were on the booth by yourself. You would, when we get to the Roulette Rumble, you were going around commentating and getting people to pick it. You did an incredible job, Carl.
There's only two things I didn't do, which was wrestle or referee.
Oh, so next show you might have to book yourself on, and judging by that was only one ref, you might have to do that as well.
I think we'll get round the referee situation, and wrestling definitely not for me, obviously.
And there's always time though. So as I said, we are going to be discussing Kamikaze Pro Live 29 today, which was at the Collingwood Centre last Friday. I nearly forgot the date of it. So we're going to kick off with the first match on the card, which was Chantal Jordan versus Kieran McQueen. I predicted this to be a slaughter, I'm going to be honest, when I spoke to Sam. And I was very much surprised that Kieran, this is probably one of his best matches I've seen of him.
I mean, literally, the day of the show, after the show had all finished everything, I went backstage, phoned Kieran, I said, Kieran, honestly, that's the best match I've seen you in, like you say, because, it wasn't a slaughter, as you predicted, but he held his own against her and knew he had to dodge all those kicks.
Yeah, like he was getting battered at the start, but then he got into it. There was times where I actually thought, we might actually be winning this, which was very much like, oh my god, this is happening. And the downfall of Kieran is, like, as in a wrestling standpoint, he tells the wrestler that he's about to do, like he shouts like, I'm about to do a pole driver. So they've got kind of like time to go, hold on, I don't want to be pole drived.
It's sort of like the Kid Lycos
Yeah.
brain buster. And
Yeah,
it never happens.
but he does it with random moves as well. So like he kind of swaps it up a bit, but it's also, this is going to happen. I probably should get out of this pole driver.
But to go back into the match, I'll say the one thing in this, like, Kieran was asking for the kicks. He was basically, he was a different man. Like, normally he's a very nice person. He's very pleasant. But he had something about him this time. Like, he just wanted to take a beating and I think he was trying to prove himself.
Yeah, and like the Messiah of the T was getting, like, he took it on. And as I said, at some points we actually thought like Kieran was going to pick up the win, but then Chantal kind of showed a bit more experience and did end up picking up the win against Kieran. I rated it 3 stars. I really enjoyed the matchup, I'm going to be honest. Like, very good opener. You'd set the tempo very well for the show.
I mean, I've got to agree with that. It was very good, like you say. And, well, again, for Kieran, like, to think that Kieran was going to win against former 2-time Kamikaze Pro Live champion and the current Relentless champion.
Yeah. Like, definitely, like, if he would have won, I'm assuming that he would have a right to the Relentless title, to be fair, having a match up against. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Yep. But yeah, with before we go on to further things, I forgot to mention as well, like, it was a packed out crowd, which I was very, very surprised for. Like, there was a lot of people there.
100%. Like, the crowd came in the numbers, and, well, it was maybe my entrance. It was quite actually a warm setting.
Yeah, like, because it was funny because obviously you had the seats out already pre-planned, but then you had to bring out more seats, and you had to, and it was very nice to see.
It was odd to see because there was having to be some like diagonal in the corner.
Yeah. But there, so Chantal picked up the win, and then we moved on to Alex Connors versus Fergus Adley. So I predicted from the Sam Hughes preview show that Alex was going to be pretty much like the veteran in this, and obviously he'd have a bit too much for Fergus. But it was slightly back and forth, I'll be honest.
Well, that's the thing. Alex Connors, he's trained in multiple various places, and obviously now he's come to Kamikaze Pro Live and that, and trying to show obviously why he's well versed in that. But this was Fergus's second ever match, and he didn't look out of place basically.
No, yeah, because obviously I've only seen Fergus in the last show in a tag team setting, so I wasn't sure what he'd be like on his own. But he definitely showed that he can do it. And before we get further into the match, Alex Connors' theme tune is a banger. Like, I can't not. I've got it in my head now. It's really annoying.
I admit, I've no idea what the song name and all that, but like it just suits his aura.
Yeah. Like I tweeted just before the matchup, is Alex Connors going to silence the influence? And he proceeded to do this. So as I said, it was quite back and forth. Fergus was too concentrated on Prime for this match. I feel like that was his downfall.
Well, obviously we'll get on to the next match after this, but I think that is like a big issue for Influence overall. They're just after that sponsorship by Prime and obviously the KSI, the Influence style as they are.
Yeah. And like KSI, you need to pick up the win to kind of like get the branding. Like he's shown off Prime, but he showed that the Prime was the downfall, which is not a good sponsorship tactic.
It was quite strange because obviously when he was drinking the Prime, it kind of was like his Popeye's spinach, basically. It was getting him boosted up, but then he'd just get knocked straight back down.
Yeah, because I think, and I was very surprised that the ref allowed Hassan just to walk in the ring and just pull some drink. The ref was like, what's going on?
I mean, when influencers are about, like, what can you do?
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, it was an enjoyable match. Like, I rated 2.5. Like, Alex showed what he's about. Fergus didn't have a bad showing at all. Like he showed that he deserves to be there. But I feel like he just a bit more focused and he'll get it.
Yeah, 100%. As I say, for his second ever singles match, like he's got basically time ahead of him now. Whereas, like you say, Alex Connors has got the veteran side to speak. So obviously he's got the knowledge, he's got the strength and the intelligence, KSI, as I said. And basically, he went on and ended up picking up the win.
Yeah, and that's a good sign for Alex because obviously the last show he kind of got disrespected, I'll be honest, where his own tag team partner helped him lose by pinning him as well with Ephemus. So he's pulled it back here, which is good for him.
But as you say, he was screwed over by Influence and his own tag team partner in Ephemus and Ademus. So basically still have the ire of Influence because what they represent. Pick up a win is obviously a good thing going forward.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully Fergus will obviously learn from this loss, and the Influence will become strong. Talking of the Influence, I found this funny instantly, I'm going to be honest. As soon as the match was over, Hassan had to run out the back because he was up next. So he was facing off against the gentleman that was on this show recently. Well, I say recently, literally last week. Good old Samuel Hughes.
That's life's hottest prospect, Samuel Hughes.
Life's hottest prospect. I probably should start saying that because he will come for me now, judging by what happened recently. But yeah, so this was pretty much like a battle of two fan favourites, I would say, at the start when you were coming into it. Like Sam's got the crowd behind him. Obviously, the Influence is big in Kamikaze at the moment. So it's a battle of the two, like you class it as baby faces. And it was a good contest. Like I was really enjoying the contest, and then suddenly it wasn't the battle of the two nice guys. Samuel Hughes kicked Hassan Adley in the dick. Very much is how you could describe that.
Well, I remember one person that used to do similar sort of tactics, some Elliot Jordan experience, basically. And as you say, like, I mean, during the match, even seeing Samuel Hughes more aggressive and more, basically, he's just starting to lose it. Like, what could he do to win? And as you say, you all saw what he did to win.
Yeah. And I think he's learned that nice guys don't always like win, and you have to kind of be rough and cheating to actually sometimes pick out the win. And obviously Hassan wasn't expecting to be low blowed, and it helped Sam pick up the win.
That's the thing. Like, obviously, at the dojo and out of Kamikaze, obviously, wrestling ring, Samuel Hughes and Hassan Ali, they're actually quite good friends and that, but I think that's going to have changed now because obviously Hassan's got the crowd way, way, way behind him now, whereas Samuel Hughes was kind of being left to the wayside, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna like I'm one of these guys that enjoys a good betrayal. So it was just unexpected, and I loved it. Like overall, I rated the match the same as the Fergus match. It was 2.5-star matchup, but it was decent. And I really enjoyed the aftermath of it. That Sam, even though he cheated, he tried to do like the good old handshake. Obviously, Hassan's a bit of a hothead, so he was definitely not going to shake his hand. I don't even know why Sam was attempting it.
Yeah.
And then Sam proceeded to, in front of Hassan, who was just in utter shock and couldn't do anything, even though he was just like a step away. He proceeded to Rainmaker. I don't know if he has a different name for it, but he Rainmakered Fergus out his boots.
Yeah, and well, one thing I've definitely got to mention from the match, which obviously once it goes up on demand, we'll see, is Hassan Ali hitting that like suicide dive through the ropes. Like, how incredible was that?
Yeah, like that, I didn't expect it at all. Like, he took out Fergus at the same time, but I think Fergus kind of saved him at the same time because Hassan's a big guy, like for to be throwing through the ropes. But it looked incredible. And
100%.
overall, both of them like have been like, because I remember seeing Hassan when he originally first started at Kamikaze in his first few matches. Like the difference between him now and when he was back then, like the mouthpiece on him is unbelievable. Like I remember in like peeling the cover back a bit, but I remember in training where he would struggle to say anything in a promo, by talking about it, and now he's just like, it's a completely different guy.
This is the thing, he's found himself in that influencer style, like obviously the Mr. Beast, KSI, Logan Paul, all those people he looks up to. Like that is Hassan and Fergus to a T. They are just literally influence, as they say.
Yeah, and like influence, Fergus has an influence on Hassan. I feel like he's really brought him out of his shell.
Yeah, they bounce off each other pretty well, and obviously, like when Fergus is in the corner for Hassan, he's quite the hype man. Whereas obviously Hassan, not to say he's not quite a hype man, but he's there reserved, watching, keeping an eye obviously on like his friend and that, making sure that things are okay and cheering him on.
Yeah, definitely, and they've both got bright futures. But obviously, at the end of the day, Samuel did what he had to do to pick up the win, and props to him. So we went off onto the first half main event, which I was expecting to be a banger of a match, and it didn't. It didn't disappoint. So you've got MJ Grayson, who's on a bit of a tear up right now in Kamikaze. He's found himself. And then you've got the man like Doris, who is everywhere right now. So I was expecting this to be a great match, and it definitely did deliver.
That's the thing. This is basically another pit stop on the Lyrical Dragon tour, which man like Doris is up and down the country, going over to Europe. Recently at WXW in Germany. I think he's off to Italy soon. So yeah, like good to see man like Doris back in Kamikaze Pro Live. And MJ Grayson, who's basically started working his way up. Who, honestly, once the Kamikaze Pro main shows do return, I can see MJ Grayson vying for one of those spots on the roster.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. Like, I think he was, when he originally was seeing MJ, he was in second to none. And I feel like he was overshadowed in that group. He didn't have enough spotlight, which he deserves. And now him on his own in Kamikaze is proving that he's a great talent.
100%. Like he's well versed. Obviously, he's got his mixed martial arts background as well.
Yeah.
And to basically ground Doris during the match as well was something. But who can stop man like Doris? He literally is on fire.
Oh yeah, and the man, he's got the like the crowd in the palm of his hands, hasn't he? Like man like the race, like he's the only. I was saying to Sam, but it's weird that like he's the only person, him and Dan Maloney, that could get people to shout 0121 in different areas. Like why are London cheering Birmingham? Basically the 0121 group code.
You say Birmingham, but obviously it's quite a wider Midlands.
Nah, it's Birmingham. But yeah, this was a very good matchup. Man like Doris, as you already stated, he did pick up the win. I rated 3 stars. Like I really enjoyed the match. It was on par with the Chantal and Kieran opener, so it was kind of like a good statement. The Kamikaze having the opener being really good in the first half main event, like just delivering a really good show. But Grayson definitely didn't. I can't think of the words now. Hurt his position in the company.
Yeah, basically, like I get what you're trying to say. I can't remember the words myself, but like, yeah, he put up a good fight and showed Darius respect me, basically.
Yeah, and Darius will definitely have to respect him because we'll have to discuss further on into the show. We're going a bit ahead of ourselves. But yeah, there's definitely going to be more coming up between the two guys. So first off of the show is done and dusted, and honestly, it's probably one of the better Kamikaze Pro Live shows this year. I'll be honest. Like every match was good. There was no disappointment. Like Kamikaze Pro Live shows in general are not bad. I'm not trying to say that, but this was like a stacked one. I'd go with like the ratings I've given and like generally, and it just kept going.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, obviously, there's always improvements every time round, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And we kicked off with the next show in the matchup. The next matchup in the show. That's the one. Which was Luke Douglas. I'm gonna go. I love a bit of Luke, as we all know. We discussed it on the podcast that if Luke's future could have been different if I would have stuck around a bit more. So he's probably glad I left. And he was fighting the debuting Edgar Adams, the Speed Demon, which it took him 5 seconds for me to instantly like him. I'm gonna be honest. Like his entrance, like him speeding around, and like it was incredible. Like that's the way to get the crowd on you straight away.
I mean, who doesn't love a bit of Sum 41 as well, coming out to that?
Yeah, no, yeah, but like even if he would come out to flipping Andre Bocelli, like the way he was speeding around, I loved it.
Well, the clue's literally in his name. He is the Speed Demon. Like, oh, I was expecting him to slip at some point, but my God, he got round that crowd really fast, and I couldn't pay attention.
Yeah, like it was good as well because he did. It was like the slow, like you could see he slipped on some beer next to me. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't my beer. I didn't try and trip him up for Luke. He slipped silly, but he was going that quick. The slip looked like it was part of the action. It's so insane. But yeah, this was obviously a bit of a mentoring thing that Luke mentioned on his Twitter. That Luke is he helps out with the training now at Kamikaze, and Edgar's one of his, like, obviously his trainees at the moment, and it was pretty much like a teacher versus student kind of matchup. And Edgar really had a good showing in it. I'm going to be honest, like, to your first matchup, you're going to get someone like Luke, and he showed that he deserves to be on the show already.
Well, this is the thing. Obviously, I mean, in the write-up on Facebook and that ahead of the match, the preview, basically, Edgar Adams is technically the first graduate of the Kamikaze Pro Dojo 2.0 in a NXT sort of sense.
Yeah.
But obviously, as you say, Luke Douglas is one of the trainers now at the school, and basically he's taught Edgar Adams some of the things of what to do. So it's basically a person who knows what you're going to do against someone who has got the extensive knowledge of watching the back catalogue of Luke Douglas realistically. But as you say, for a debut, and to debut in a singles match as well against Luke Douglas, it's quite a task.
Oh, definitely. Like the man's he's two-time Kamikaze Pro Live champion. He's the current tag team champion on the actual main show. Like to face someone with that kind of experience and show that good of a showing, like Edgar's. I'm rooting for him already. I'm gonna be honest. Like he's won me over straight away.
This is the thing. Obviously, we mentioned. Obviously, I mean, we've got the likes of Chantal, Influence, man like Darius. All these have got the crowd on their side. Edgar Adams coming in on his debut, and what a reaction he got.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to say it was silly. Like he didn't like he got the reaction from just being like enthusiastic. Yeah, like just being like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
But like the match, yeah, Kieran.
I was going to say, similar to what you probably might say, is for his debut match as well, he did not look out of place.
Yeah, like I'll rate this match at 3 stars. Like for a debut match to be rated at 3 stars, and like is just incredible. And he's got a bright future. I'm going to be honest. But obviously Luke did the good old teacher versus student. Like I've taught you all you knew, but you don't know. I haven't taught you all I know. Is that the same? Like that kind of thing. And obviously he was just a bit more experienced, and I feel like he put a bit of emphasis on his finisher as well. That's the hardest I've seen him hit his finisher to pick up the win.
It's well, obviously me and Luke Douglas, we don't get on pretty well, but like
You don't say.
I've got to respect him. He knows how to win.
No, Luke knows how to win. Like, he's the Iron Man of Rumbles, like, as well. He's a three-time champion in Kamikaze. So the sky's the limit for Luke as well. And he's always put himself with people that can get him into places. Obviously, Clint.
Yeah.
He's a smart man, but overall, great matchup. 3 stars. Like, Edgar didn't do, like, Edgar's already boosted his ratings to me straight away. And obviously, Luke, he's just a class act in the ring. Even though you're not a big fan, Colin's not a big fan, but I'm a big fan, Luke. Remember that. I'm trying to get in with him already. Moving on. So we had the next match, which was the just prior to the Kamikaze Roulette Rumble. George Lyden versus the Kamikaze Kid. So this wasn't a title match. I've already put the correction on Twitter that it wasn't a title match. Don't listen to me. It was George Lyden, who is the current champion, versus the Kamikaze Kid. I was expecting this to be a great match, and it was my match of the night by far. George is just a freak of a wrestler, I'm going to be honest. He's like 17, and look at him. Look how much he performs. And then again, Kamikaze Kid, like, I'm not sure how old he is at the moment, but like, freak of a wrestler as well, and look how good he performed.
This is the thing, like, the Kamikaze Kid, he stepped into the dojo long time ago when we was, I want to say, not 2013, because obviously that's when the company started, but like
2015 probably, yeah, because he was around. Yeah, he was there just before I came along.
Yeah, so it was just as we moved literally into the centre of Birmingham then, and the training he had, basically, like, you hear people talk about training on, like, to break the fourth wall here, obviously training on thin mats and stuff. This is what he had to do, and obviously, well, George Lyden, as you mentioned, he's just unbelievable. Like, there's a reason he's starting to get out there more and become known, basically.
Yeah, and that's the reason, obviously, I can't remember what the actual show title was, but him versus Chris Ridgway. And Chris said at the end of the match, because Chris Ridgway doesn't go in the mic very often. So for him to have the match with George, which was an absolute banger of a match, and then say afterwards, the reason I picked him was because he loves wrestling, and I know how good he's going to be.
Yeah. When the thing is, well, that's what I say. You say that, and everyone thinks it's like, oh, normally in wrestling, it's just match gets announced. This isn't legit. What they're saying of like, oh, he's picked him to wrestle him, yada yada. And like you said, after the match, Ridgway gets on the mic and says, "I know this is legit. I actually went backstage after the previous show and said I want to wrestle him."
Yeah, and he did. And then, to be fair, George put on a good showing, but Ridgway absolutely kicked the crap out of him. But that was good for George's progression, we would say.
And well, going back to this match, and we got to think about it. This is the second time they've now faced each other since the pre-show Underground 7, and George now has, the spoiler alert in a sense of this, even though we do mention the winners, he's 2-0 against Kamikaze Kid, so that's got to hurt him a bit, but there's a reason, obviously, why Kamikaze Kid lost, because obviously he's got something in the background, which I'll let you mention what transpired after the match.
Yeah, so before we go into that, obviously George, I rate this 3.5 stars. This match, it was very good. George ended up picking up the win. He was just a bit too much for the Kamikaze Kid. But as I said, I tweeted this out prior to the match as well. I feel like the Kamikaze Kid had a bit of a worry in the back of his mind, because on the previous Kamikaze installment, the bad man returned and absolutely obliterated the Kamikaze Kid, and then obliterated Sam Hughes, which everyone forgets that Sam was in the ring, and that's probably why Sam started kicking people in the dick. And he like, Marshall X was, correct me if I'm wrong, Marshall X, when he left, he disappeared for a while. The fans were on his side, like, he was getting like a face reaction, like, everyone was a big fan, and obviously he's decided to come back and to correct the wrongs of he doesn't care.
But this was the thing. Once he left, he basically had left wrestling for good. He didn't want to wrestle anymore, and that was it. But obviously, we see now, as you see after the match itself, I had to get on the mic and say, look, you got to make a decision. Are you back or not? Because you can't just keep turning up and doing this, basically.
Yeah, And Marshall X confirmed with his grin of the nod grin that he does that he's definitely back. And you have announced that at Kamikaze Pro Live 30, which is November. I don't know the exact date. Plug it.
November 20th at the Stetchford Social.
Yep. That he's going to be facing the Kamikaze Kid, and it's definitely already a grudge match instantly. Like Marshall X hasn't been around for like 2 years now, 3 years actually. Thinking about 2019, I was just quickly looking up. He fought Hassan. Yeah,
the big thing happened, and that obviously
yeah,
stopped everything. But like, yeah, as you say, it's a grudge match, and well, Marshall X actually to start with, he didn't even agree straight away. He's not saying he was back. He was about to walk off, and then as soon as the fans started booing him and that's when he went, you know what, stuff this, I'm back.
Yeah, I think he got the reaction he wanted, though, wasn't he? Like I said, he was getting like a nice reaction originally before the bad thing happened. We're saying COVID, by the way, because it sounds like something dodgy happened. COVID, and it was a bit of like he had a bit of nice guy about him, but instantly he's come back. Last month, Kamikaze Pro 28, I forgot to mention as well, he demasked the Kamikaze Kid just to add insult to him being an absolute lovely guy. And he's going to end up facing the Kamikaze Kid at the next show, which that is going to be a great match. And it'd be good to see if Marshall X is going to be a bit rusty in the ring, or he's just going to have too much experience for the Kamikaze Kid.
100%. And well, that's the thing, Kamikaze Kid, he's not going to have him in the back of his mind in that sort of sense of when he wrestles, because he's literally, as you say, it's a grudge match. He's got sole focus on Marshall X now.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, that match, it's going to be a whole lot of that show definitely already. Like, it's the only match that's been announced, but it's already, if you're going to announce a match, that's a decent match to start off with. You did a good job there, Karl. Plaudits to you.
Thank you.
So we pick up the night at the main event, which is always a classic, the Kamikaze Pro Live Roulette Rumble. If you don't know what the Roulette Rumble is, describe it to the people, Karl.
Oh, well, I mean, you've extended the name out quite a fair bit there.
I added, yeah.
But basically, like many Rumbles, obviously, entrants are drawn out and this, that, the other. They come out at intervals. To be eliminated, you get thrown over the top rope, feet touch the floor. Well, both feet touch the floor, not feet.
Yeah.
And obviously the winner becomes the number one contender for the Kamikaze Pro Live title, because George Lyden, as we say, this show he didn't have a contender basically. Next show we need to crown someone. But
yeah,
the only difference is, like most normal Rumbles, where obviously everyone knows in Rumbles, every wrestler knows when they're coming out, who's winning, everything. This one's very much different. Like, the fans draw the names out of the hat, and well, to start with, let's just say the first two names this time were both members of Influence, Hassan, and Fergus.
Yeah, which is always not nice. Like, I'm not going to bring it up again, but like we were discussing in Luke's interview where we were going to be the team together, and we got drew out straight away together, and it was just like, oh, okay, what do we do? But carry on.
I was going to say, we saw what obviously Influence decided to do. Like, they're literally our brothers to each other. They don't want to hurt each other, so straight away they decided, let's have a dance off, and drew one of the fans who I believe is a now former 2 times Influence 24/7 champion into the ring and had a dance off with him, and then lo and behold, obviously the next entrant after that was MJ Grayson.
Yeah, which MJ is definitely not going to have a dance off. I'm going to be honest. Like, I struggle to see MJ. He might have it in him, but I don't see him showing it live on Kamikaze Pro. I'll be honest, I didn't note down the order of the entrance, so if you do know that going along, that'll be great. But I've just got the general gist of people.
Well, I mean, obviously, of course, most people on the show are like Chantal, Jordan, Kieran, McQueen, Alex Connors. Alex Connors was the last person out by the fans drawing.
Yeah.
Samuel Hughes, Man Like the Reese, MJ Grayson as mentioned, Edgar Adams, Luke Douglas. But I will say as well, going back to the Edgar Adams match, like a lot of trainees when they do debut, it's normally in these Roulette Rumbles, and we did have one in Nate Royley making his debut.
Yeah, and to be honest, Nate had a good showing in that Rumble. He started off a bit iffy. I'm going to be honest, we have to bring it up. He tried to springboard into the ring, and he nearly ended is the best way to say it. But he got straight back up and he absolutely obliterated people. To take that kind of bump in a ring and then to get back up and just carry on, that takes some some I'm going to say balls. That's going to take some balls. Yeah, and he did. He didn't show he didn't make that stop him, and he had a good show in the matchup. So the Rumble overall was a very good it was the typical Roulette Rumble chaos everywhere.
That's the thing. Normally you get the term organised chaos, but this is just literal chaos because, as you know yourself and many others do, no one knows actually who's in the match as well because no one knew Nate Riley was going to be there. Who I've been in the matches before. Referee Adam had been in previous time at the same venue. Or Neil, Colin, everyone. I remember once we had Lee McKenzie and Charlie Evans, Medusa Complex, who were just basically came to the show and ended up getting in the match themselves.
Yeah.
But came down to obviously all the chaos, people being eliminated. Got down to the final four, which was Chantal Jordan, man like Reese, Luke Douglas, and MJ Grayson.
Yeah. And to pull the curtain back, on the previous the preview with Samuel Hughes, I picked MJ to go on and win this. But there was a bit of controversy, weren't there, Karl?
Well, obviously we've mentioned there was obviously only one referee at this show tonight, but not tonight as in tonight, but that night. But of course, at one point, I believe from my position, because I was obviously at the commentary desk at that point, Luke Douglas was eliminated. All the fans were chanting it. I can't announce until referee confirmation, obviously. So what I saw, Luke Douglas then got back into the ring. He eliminated Man Like Doris. Man Like Doris was eliminated. Referee then basically had the fans on his back, came up to me, said, I've had to reverse the decision. I've been told Luke Douglas was eliminated. Man Like Doris is now back in the match. They switch positions. Obviously, Chantal gets eliminated.
Yeah.
MJ Grayson then gets eliminated by man like Doris. However, as we see, which obviously makes Doris the number one contender for the Kamikaze Pro Live title, but MJ Grayson wasn't having any of that after the match.
Well, definitely, you can see where he's coming from because it all relies on. I feel bad, but the referee was on his own, so he can only see. You can't see all four sides of the ring. That's why it's. You always normally have two refs who can kind of monitor. It's still chaos with two refs. So then to have. Obviously, there was a lot going. I feel bad for him. Obviously, Luke got eliminated, but then he came back in the ring, as you said, and then he was getting hammered by the crowd. He reversed his decision, which I feel like was peer pressure from the crowd, which isn't the greatest. Because I was sitting next to when Luke got thrown out by the ref, basically, and Luke just marched straight up to him and going, "What are you listening to them for? What? Start absolutely harassing the ref," which. You shouldn't do that, but it's also you can understand where Luke's coming from. And then, as you said, Chantal got eliminated. There was no controversy via that. But then MJ got eliminated by man like Doris at the end. But in MJ's mind, he should be winning because man like Doris got eliminated legitimately. And then he's been brought back in. So obviously, it's not fair on MJ.
But the thing, obviously, he straight away come up to me, demanding the microphone. And as you say, he literally, because Doris obviously had been eliminated in a sense. So why was he then coming back into the match? Why was he added back? Obviously, that's a referee decision. But he got on mic and obviously he straight away said, "I'm not having this. I'm not losing to you twice in one night. Restart the match." Which straight away I had to make an executive decision. So you have basically a second match now for obviously Kamikaze Pro Live 30 at the Stetchford Social on November 20th. George Lyden will be defending his Kamikaze Pro Live title against man like Doris, who was technically the winner of the over-the-top the Kamikaze Roulette Rumble, and MJ Grayson, basically, because he technically, in a sort of sense, was also the winner.
Yeah. And you know who really's come off worse out of all this? George Lyden. That's really you think about it. He's got to fight man like the Reese, who's becoming a veteran. To the Kamikaze roster, he's pretty much a veteran. And then MJ Grayson, who is on the role of his lifetime. So to face just MJ Grayson would be hard, but then to throw a man like the Reese in there, like Georgie's going to have a bit of trouble at the next show.
100%. Like and that's the thing. Obviously, as always known in a triple threat, he doesn't have to be pinned basically to lose his championship.
Yep, and it's going to be good. Like, I'm going to be honest, I can see George picking up the win because he's got it on his side at the moment. Like, George is you can't say he's in the prime of being 17, but he's on a roll. Like, and I feel like MJ and man like the Reese will cost each other the match. I feel like there's going to be too much hatred between them because of it, and George is going to be the smart one of the match.
Well, I just remembered one thing as well. This isn't the only time we've had this sort of decision because throwing it back in a sort of sense, I can't remember the actual show, but it was that time where I think Hammer Healy was still champion,
Yeah,
or Luke Douglas was, and basically, lo and behold, the lad Sean Devine and either Healy or Luke Douglas were both eliminated as the winners. And then, we had a triple threat in that situation as well. So it's not the first time we've had controversy. And as Eric Bischoff normally says, controversy creates cash.
Yeah, and was that where Luke picked up the win in the triple threat? Is that where he won the title?
I'm actually going to have to quickly run back and find this because it's in the back of my head. But I want to say, like I say, it was Hammer Healy as champ. Yeah. And actually, no, it wasn't even the lad Sean Devine. Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, it was Sean Devine. But basically, it was Kamikaze Live 17, so Luke was already champion still at that point.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so George Lyden needs to watch out. So I'm going to put my predictions in early, which I'll discuss in the preview show we'll do for the Kamikaze Pro 30 with someone. I'm going to go with George to pick up the win. As I said, I feel there's going to be too much distractions between man like the Reese and MJ, and I feel like Marshall X is going to be too much for the Kamikaze Kid. But prove me wrong. That's pretty much the way it goes, isn't it?
Well, the interesting thing as well with it all for George Lyden is George Lyden's got quite the fan base as well in Kamikaze Pro Live now, but to have a man like the Reese in that match could take it away from him, and I think that could also then play a factor into if the result obviously comes about and who wins.
Yeah, like there is Kamikaze knows fans. There's no middle ground. Normally, it's either they love you or hate you. George and man like the Reese, more man like the Reese has got the crowd in the palm of his hands. MJ Grayson's going to be probably booed out the arena, which I feel bad for, because he's got the bad end of the sword with the three people there. But yeah. Kamikaze Pro Live 30 is going to be coming up. That's the end of this, though. And overall, the 29 show was definitely a success for you guys. Packed out crowd. Every match was there was no letdown match. Every match was good. The main of not the main event, not really the sixth match on the card, we'll say, was the match of the night for me. But Kieran had a great showing. Edgar Adams is sillily impressively got the crowd behind him within 7 seconds of being in his debut. And Marshall X is back, which is the thing I'm taking away from this.
The thing anyone's taken away basically. The bad man of Kamikaze Pro is back.
Yeah, and he's not a nice guy. He demasked the man.
If I go to what the fans chant, they basically called him a waste man. So let's not leave it as I'm saying that. Obviously, that's what the fans say, but
I don't know. You've already stated it, and I'm going to clip that to make sure it sounds like you've just said it. Just out of context completely. But yeah, so that's the end of the review, guys. As usual, comment down below, like and subscribe to our channel. Karl's Twitter handle's been on the screen for continuously throughout the show because I like to plug the guest. But is there anyone else you'd like to plug, Karl?
Oh, ironically, that is if I remember, it should be that Karl Robinson, or no, on Twitter it's the Karl Robinson. On YouTube and Instagram it's that Karl Robinson.
Excellent, because I'm glad you said
that.
That.
That's Karl with a K as well.
Yeah, when you just said that Karl Robinson before you told it was me, the Twitter one, I was like, oh my god, I've had the on for the whole show. I'm glad you said that. And when are tickets on sale for the next show?
They should literally be going on sale. I think we mentioned this is going on the air tomorrow, basically on
Yeah, the
Tuesday.
11th, yeah.
And I think tickets should be going on sale on the 11th, basically. So tickets should be on sale tonight, Wendy says.
See, I know what I'm doing. But yeah, so that's it from us. Adios, everyone. Say goodbye, Karl.
Bye, Karl.
I knew you were going to do that. Bye-bye.